Earlier you mentioned about almost an hour ago, about, letting kids grow up and be. But I think there needs to be some kind of order as they grow up, right? You gotta have someone, their father,
Yeah.
usually what's supposed to be their
Yeah.
father, someone telling them what's right and what's wrong.
Yes.
So, I mean,
That's
that's
a
what I
good.
would.
Yeah, that's a good
They
point to
need some
brush up on
guidance.
that.
After they're
Yeah.
adults, then they can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there has to be some guidance, right?
Well, let me further make the point really quick is that what I mean is that, like, we don't try to, like, I see videos on Instagram where the mom or the dad it's mostly the mom telling the child, and she's recording the child on Instagram saying that I am beautiful, I am mighty, I am respectful, I am amazing. You know what I mean? And they're teaching them these things thinking that they're going to grow up believing it. That's not true. You're just telling them, they're just learning language, right? But as they grow, when the moments present themselves, like the kid touches the fire, those are teachable moments. Like, hey, you touch fire, that's going to happen, right? You teach them in those moments. When they have questions, you teach them. But one thing that I'm grateful that my mom never did growing up is she never told me, ridiculed me for doing wrong. She let me learn. She let me learn from my own mistakes. That's the best teacher, right? Because you could tell them all the things you want about what they shouldn't do. They're gonna want to do it more. They're gonna go to that party and do what you don't want them to do. Because they're like, what is that like? Let them go. That's hard for parents to take. And maybe it will be when I get there, I don't know. But that's hard for parents to understand because they want to protect their children. That's your ego, not theirs. You don't want something to happen to them, so you won't feel bad, right? But let them grow up and make mistakes. Let them fall off the bike. Let them do these things. And then, like you're saying, guide them on the way. And then they'll see your example and learn from your example. Does that make sense? Yeah, so that's how I feel. I don't think I'm not saying don't ever say anything. I'm just saying, like, lead them and guide them on the way, and that instruction will compound and set that foundation. Zara, you had a question?
I was just going to ask you something.
Yeah.
I kind of just feel like I agree with what you're saying when you like tell your child like, oh, don't do this. It's gonna make you want to do it, and it's coming from experience. It's just like it's just real life talk. Like people do things when they're told not to, because it's interesting. Like you're like, oh, what is it then? And then I feel like also just like when parents feel the need to always try to be the parent. Like a worldly parent, that's how I see it. It just doesn't work, because then the child's just gonna end up not really liking you.
Yeah.
Because why are you telling me what to do? Like, it's not like that, but it's more like, I understand you're trying to help me, but at the same time, you gotta let me do what I gotta do. Because I'm not, like you said, you learn from your mistakes. I'm not gonna know what something is, and I'm not like, you can't get up without falling. That's basically what it is.
And the parents mean well, and the children know that you're coming from a right place, but they're also gonna like their best friend's parents more than they like you, to be honest. It's just what it's gonna be, because like, Sally gets to do everything, and I can't, you know what I mean? There would be no temptation if there was never told what you can't do. There would be no temptation. Just do it, go. Now you can advise them not to do certain things, and when they're a certain age, you can, you're not gonna let like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old go to a party. Like that's just, if I wanna go so bad, Sally's mom gets to go where you're not going. That's time to tell them you're not going, because you're 10 or 11, right? You're not gonna let that happen. But not helicopter. And we would never helicopter if we were never attached to the children in the first place. So we have to grow disattached from all people in every area in general, and you'll never do that in the first place. But anyway, I gotta end. Oh, okay, really quick. Let me go here. I didn't see their hands.
I was just gonna agree with you. As a parent, and I'm a parent, the best thing you can do is look at yourself, focus on yourself, and get to know yourself, and your example will lead the children in that way. And then I also wanted to say, I think that you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Before you had your little show,
right?
You was guest host. You guest host on Hake's show.
Yeah.
And you and Nick had a conversation. I was like, this is so good. Joel needs his own show, because you're being that you're young, you're being a good example for young men to see this.
Right.
I just reflected on myself. I was like, when I was growing up, I never seen a young man talk like this and speak the truth like this. And it covers everybody. Like, hey, there's an audience for everybody. Hey,
Yeah.
Nick, you. But just from my point of view, like, especially being black, like a young, or mixed, biracial, whatever.
Yeah.
A young black
30%
man.
white. But go ahead.
I think that you're just doing a great job, and you're being a good example with sharing the truth and your experiences that you've experienced, and put it out there about relationships and sex and all those type of things, because that's not what the world is teaching nowadays,
Right.
especially in your age bracket and younger. So
For sure. I appreciate it.
I think
Thank
you're
you.
doing a good job.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You guys should check out the podcast too. I'll explain. I'll tell you where to go. But let me get to these last.
Real quick, I just want to add that I appreciate the distinction you made between support and acceptance,
Yeah.
where it
Yeah.
pertains to Christianity. As you know, with my walk, it's important for me to be committed to, you know, my belief system with Christianity.
Yeah.
While relinquishing the judgment. And I think it's super important, and that needs to be heard, because so many non-Christians and even Christians feel judged
Yeah.
by Christians. So I
For
just
sure.
wanted to reiterate that. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is something that I struggle with, and that's the idea of detachment. And the reason why I struggle with it is because I'm also like reading the Bible, which is really hard
Yeah.
and slow for me. But I remember there's a passage of like sons, like cling to your parents, and then when you're married, like cling to your wife. And that, I mean, if you can explain that to me, I just
Yeah.
associate that with being attached to somebody.
Yeah, I think there's a attachment that a lot of people will justify as righteous, is the desire to want to know more, right? Like, for example, you in the Bible or reading the Bible, and you said you've been reading it. I don't know how much you read it. You read it a lot, or?
I took a break, but I try to read like it's like a chapter every day.
Yeah. See, I used to do that same thing too. And I'm not saying that you should stop, because it's up to you, but the reason why I was doing it, because there was a void I was trying to fill with wisdom, and it was me wanting to be better, but that was still coming from ego, right? I think attachment only comes from a desire of want. You want something. Same reason why we see a girl or a guy on the street and then we want to talk to them, because we want that. And we think that they're gonna fulfill something in us that we think is not there. So that's why we read the Bible, and we read and read every day. I used to do the same thing, thinking that it's gonna change, but that's not what changes. Is being still changes it, letting go and being present with God, being in the moment. So there's nothing wrong with reading the Bible. And I'm gonna answer the second part of your question, but I think that there's not a necessity to do anything. There's no command to do anything. God don't even want us to make no effort. Meaning, like, go up and go to work, do what's in front of you, like go to work, do certain things. But there should be no, I'm gonna be a better Christian. That's an ego thought. I'm gonna learn tomorrow. That's the ego thought. I gotta wrap it up. I'm gonna do these things. You can't, that's an ego thing. You just wanna feel better. That's all you want. You wanna feel better about your life. You wanna feel better about yourself, so you think that the scripture and the word is gonna fulfill that need. But God, the ego dying, which is not you, that feels that pain, has to die. And then you will have no desire, no attachment for anything. So if your child dies, right? And that feels so like hard to say, but if your child dies, or your wife leaves you, or whatever the case is, not that you won't miss them, but you will understand. And not only that, you won't feel anything about it. You'll just allow it to happen. And that's what disattachment is that there's no attachment. The only reason why we do things and keep things around us is it's supposed to be because we see that those are the right things, right? So the second question, really quick, it was about the wife and the, what was that again?
That really was it. It's reconciling, like, detachment.
Oh, yes. Okay, now I remember. When the child leaves the parents, then that's the same thing. That's what it was supposed to be. When the child leaves the parents, the child is supposed to go to the husband or the wife, and then you cling to the husband and wife. But parents, that was when parents were righteous, and they were able to lead you, right? There should be no attachment to anything. That's why we got to look within and not just go off the Bible. Because you'll easily take that out of context and be like, listen to whatever your parents say. That's wrong, right? I gotta end it. But yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Great job.
Want is an attachment. The reason why you have any attachment is only because you want something. You're not being grateful for what you have, and you're not letting God add it to your life. Let him add it to your life, and you'll never be attached to it. Not never, because you might be attached to it in the wrong way. But you appreciate it more, it's for you, you connect with it better, and it adds to your life, it doesn't take away. You know what I mean? You're not falling into all the wrong things, quote unquote, based off of this desire. Because you got the money, now you're spending it on 8 Lamborghinis, right? You only got one butt. Sorry, kids.